Shall we go?
You really think you have a chance against us, Mr. Cowboy?
Hey, motherfucker. What do you like to do?
Oh, I don't know. Play chess. Screw.
Well, let's play chess.
They give off to Jonathan Taylor. Jump cutting his way. Close to the goal line. He's in there. Touchdown. I-N-D-Y. Jonathan Taylor.
Wheeler finds Quan from the logo.
Here's Halliburton into the front court. Mishandled it, but gets a shot. Hits it! Hits it!
John, I have never been better to be on the air with you here in Indianapolis, a place where so many of my dreams have come true.
The Ride with JMV on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Under center, Jones, ball in the left hash. Takes a snap, fakes, boots, throwback screen, caught by Taylor. 35, he's at the 40, 45, 50, down the left sideline, 40, 35, 30, ran out of bounds. Jonathan Taylor with a run after the catch, after the screen, into plus territory, first down, Colts. Out of the timeout, the Colts are going for it, fourth down and a yard at the Texans' 9-yard line. The Colts trail 3-0. Colts on the move right to left. Out of the timeout, Jones out of the gun. Tyler Warren drops the ball after going under center and was going to run a quarterback sneak. And the ball was kicked away as Warren could not field it cleanly. It went back, it squirted back into the backfield, picked up by Jonathan Taylor, who tried to run upfield and get a first down, and he's stonewalled by the Texans, and the Colts have turned it over inside the 10-yard line after some trickery there as they sent Tyler Warren in motion. Takes a snap, looks left, fires down the left sideline into the end zone, and it is a catch for Alec Pierce. Touchdown! It covers 19 yards in the back left corner of the end zone for a score. They take the lead over the Texans 6-3. First and goal at the 4. Stroud has the ball in the right hash. He'll dip under center. Kate Stover in motion to the left side. They sweep it to Nick Chubb. Chubb looking, probing, outside the numbers left, trying to bull his way into the end zone, and he does. Nick Chubb puts the Texans back on top, 9-6 with 5:08 to go in the second quarter. Daniel Jones, wide open,
goal line, touchdown for the Colts. Tyler Warren, touchdown, I-N-D-Y, and it's a gain of 12 for the touchdown to Warren, and the Colts are an extra point away from tying the game. It's 13-12.
Game tied at 13. Stroud out of the gun. Running back left is Marks. They fake it to him. Now here's an end around to Nico Collins. Outside the numbers left. At the 10. Cuts at the 5. He's in. Touchdown. Jones goes out of the gun. 3 receivers bunched to the right side. Ball in the left hash. Taylor the back left.
Blitz
Jones
again.
has time. Throws upfield, incomplete at the 20-yard line, and unable to bring that down was Michael Pittman Jr. In coverage was Derek Stingley. The Colts want a flag. They're not going to get one. It's a turnover on downs. Final score on the Ruoff Mortgage scoreboard. It's the Houston Texans 20 and the Indianapolis Colts 16.
That is Matt Taylor. That is Rick Venturi. And that's the Colts Radio Network. This is your Monday afternoon to do a lot of conversational venting, rationalizing, BSing across the board regarding yesterday's game. The Colts now 8-4. They lose to the Texans 20-16 in what was described by me, and I think others too, as a must-win. And now this is like a double must-win coming up in Jacksonville on Sunday, a place they haven't won since 2014. Last time they won a division, same year. So it would be nice if you put the wheels in motion and got it done. I want to start the show this way. And I want to get all of this out of the way regarding Sauce Gardner and his calf. I'm not going to hold my breath on this, and I haven't held my breath in a long time with anything that is supposed to be uplifting, informationally speaking, regarding injuries with the Colts. I don't. I don't, you don't, we don't together. There's no holding of the breath. I will tell you this. Whether you're still a believer, or maybe now you have sided at 8-4, and looking murky, incredibly murky, Now, even the postseason picture is now murky. What was once crystal clear, it's difficult to see now. But I'm here to tell you that this has to work. It has to work. Somebody better grab the round peg and force it immediately into the square hole. Or vice versa. Because it has to work. You are, I don't know how else I can really put this to have as type of impact that I want. You are profoundly blanked for the future if you don't pull out of this nosedive. That's the way that it looks. And we all know most of the time, the way that it looks for the Colts is the way that it's going to be. And I need to say, well, wait a minute, it looked really good earlier this season. Yeah, that's only when it's good. When it's bad and it looks bad, normally it turns out to be bad. No, it has to work. I was all for it. I was all for A.D. Mitchell, 2 number ones, because I wanted to see them go for it right now. I was all for it. So I guess I'm just as bad as Chris Ballard, just as bad as anybody else that wanted. I thought, you know what, you add that to the secondary, and clearly you see what happens up front, not much. I mean, I don't even know who was on the team, put pressure on the quarterback, and dudes that are supposed to don't. They're allowing such a high percentage of completions on third down and moving the chains. It's really defensively gross. I think near the bottom or at the bottom. And stopping teams defensively on third down. It's gross. I was all for it, though. I was all for it. Live in the moment, live in the now. I learned from Tyrese Halliburton that you're not promised a damn thing after watching the start of this Pacer team. And I was right there with anybody else mortgaging the future. But it has to work. And you know what? It can certainly work out better than this. The problem you're going to have is, and the major difficulty is that of Daniel Jones can no longer move like Daniel Jones did prior to the fibula crack or whatever has happened. Prior to his crack. So he can't move as well as he once did. That compromises the offense because you pretty much know what is coming, and teams basically will blitz all day long. And unlike the Colts, when you do some things, they actually get there. And they're getting home. They're forcing errant throws, although yesterday I didn't think there was a lot. I mean, he could have saved the day, and he was unable to save the day. You're going to say, that's putting a lot on a guy with a crap fibula or whatever. But no, it's true. He could have saved the day, and he didn't. When you're a quarterback like that, the expectation is that you're able to make plays. That's why you're there. If you're not, it's going to be somebody else that's going to be there. But I will take pause to recognize a group that hasn't been talked about a lot. And there's a crap load of money, especially on the left side of it. But mostly this focus is from center to the right. Can somebody get this offensive line together? The offensive line looks like, especially on the right side, they're the ones that are completely unaware of how compromised their quarterback is. I think, to me, that's where it all starts. I think it all starts right there. If this offensive line is unable to do what it should be able to do, then this team is screwed. And you're going to concentrate on taking away Jonathan Taylor. He squeezed out 85 yards under incredibly difficult circumstances yesterday. And sure, I know his MVP poof has gone up in smoke right here, but I'm not so much worried about that as I am now about this team falling completely out of the playoff picture. And you're going to say, well, wait a minute, you're sounding the alarm right there, red flag. Yeah, yes, now's the time to do it, because normally we wait until it's too late. I'm doing it right now. It should be incredibly obvious that this team needs something uplifting. And back to the defense for a moment. I mentioned on third down, They are allowing teams to move in big chunks of yardage, by the way, on third down and move the chains. And we talk about Sauce Gardner, as of right now, not paying off and mortgaging the future. And I like him a great deal. And I don't know. I'm not at his bod. I don't know if he's still messed up from Alec Ogletree. But Charvarius Ward is like 3 steps behind everybody. It's almost like he's running with leg weights on out there. Seriously, I thought that the secondary was going to be able to force teams into making mistakes. Now the only time the secondary takes advantage of anything is when the opposing quarterback makes a mistake or an errant throw, like you saw with C.J. Stroud yesterday, who, for the most part, had a pretty good day in his return. You should have been able to, I thought, after him not playing for a while, I thought you should have been able to shake him up even more. But yesterday you were counting on pressure up front that's basically non-existent. So what is really letting you down, and I don't want to hear about the excuse with no DeForest Buckner while it's big, you got to deal with it. Their offensive and defensive lines are stinking it up. They are. And I'm going to put everybody in there, and I'm sure it's not everybody. It's not on everybody, but I'm going to put everybody in there collectively. They are stinking it up. And you are screwing this up. It's you guys. That's where all this starts. You know the situation with the fibula with your quarterback. You know teams, certainly after the Pittsburgh game and then the Atlanta game, they're going to send everybody at you. You know, all this is coming, and you're still unable to deal with it. You know that the secondary is dealing with injuries. You still can't put pressure on anybody. The, quote, best defensive player in the draft year before last, where are you? Where are you? Former first-round pick in where are you? So that's going to be my major focus. Offensive and defensive lines. And here's the reason why. Because anybody in football always tells you, whether it's cliche or not, that's where all this starts. Well, for this team, that's where it all starts, and that's what's ending them right now. And I think that you should be able to put something together. I mean, hell, the offensive line is together. Let's go. Protect your guy. He's out there trying with a broken leg. Protect your guy. Get something done. I don't want to hear about how you're the future Hall of Famer. You play like you're one right now. Everybody's excited. Left tackle, getting paid. Everybody's feeling good. Hey, play like you should be. And I'm just going to bring everybody into the equation because everybody deserves a little bit of it. You have to be better. It sucks not having defensively DeForest Buckner, but you have far too many high selections. I'll be honest with you, Grover Stewart, they were lucky Grover Stewart actually saved 7 in the first half on a deflection. When you get guys that are injured, guys that are dealing with injuries, certainly like Daniel Jones, you have to find other aspects where you can make it up. And they're just simply put not making it up. And listen, I don't know how deeply we can go with it because this guy doesn't look like he can move anywhere near he was once capable. And that's problematic. And it's funny, like the head coach still calls it offensively like he's got a healthy quarterback. Or he's got a healthy quarterback that, doesn't fold up under heavy pressure, which a lot of quarterbacks do. Daniel Jones does. He has. But to suggest he's not going to get a great deal of pressure considering the offensive line, and basically now, the rumor is out, everybody's bringing everybody. This is something, this is not, well, maybe they will, maybe they won't, I don't know. You better figure this crap out. Because this future looks ugly. You were living in the moment, and I was great living in the moment. Sometimes in that moment you have to make an adjustment. Some guys have to play better. Some guys that should be playing better have to play better. So that's where I would start. And I know it doesn't sound like this team is 8-4, but let's just say it doesn't feel like your average 8-4 team right now. It's like funny when people say, well, they're still 8-4. Okay, so have you not watched in a month? Is that it? Yeah, no, it's a lot different than an 8-4. On the road in Jacksonville, we haven't won since 2014 on Sunday. On the road in Seattle after that. San Fran back at home. Trying to think, what do you need? 3 more here? You get to 11 wins. Correct? You need at least 3 more. 11 wins gets you in. That should be, I don't know, somebody has to think of a mantra or something here. You got to get to 11. You got to make this happen. And I know that it's going to be disappointing because you had different sorts of visions, but now it's just trying to make sure you get there. What once was a significant lead within your own division and a couple of other teams that basically everybody was writing off looks a lot different. Now, I will tell you this, that both these other teams have issues too. And they have issues that aren't going to go away, and they have issues that, in large part, at times are not brought on by injury. I'm not here to tell you that injuries, people are going to say, well, you can't make excuses. If you are 80% as a quarterback and you're limping around and you're not moving nearly as well, yet there's nobody else to put in, I mean, you probably can look at that, view that as an excuse, and then they bring everybody at you. And even when they don't, the offensive line, especially on the right side of it, doesn't protect. I would think it'd be tough to look at Daniel Jones out there limping around and going, hell, we're just going to let everybody in on him. Come on. Way too much money, way too much thought, way too much patting on the back. With so many still that are out there participating right now, both offensively and defensively up front, to have all this crap happen. Simply put. Can't be going on. All right, we got that for you, 239-1070. I've got the text line that is up and running, 317-239-1070. And if you took that as all is lost, I'm not suggesting all it's lost. Now is the time. Like I said, nosedive, and that's exactly what you're in right now. Now's the time to pull that up, because this is what's interesting about this game and this time of year, because you can turn the tables immediately. But you have to do it immediately. You can't wait until the end and then all of a sudden wish you had done it earlier. Sunday is the absolute perfect time. Because then Sunday, nobody, and I mean nobody, will be expecting it. Nobody at all. Especially the way this team is playing. So, yeah, if you're asking me, it starts up front with both. I wish there was something that we could talk about doing with the quarterback, but there's not. That's who this quarterback is. Your quarterback is now a younger Joe Flacco, because that's exactly how he moves. So your offensive line and your coach, your coordinator, they need to cobble together a plan of support in that capacity. Not act like we're talking about Daniel Jones playing Tennessee in September, because that's not who he is, and that's not who he's going to be. I'll give him credit because the dude's rolling out there knowing that he is absolutely plumb nude on the back end of this. There is nothing else. He's it. And that's that. But you can no longer treat him like he's the Daniel Jones of 2 months ago. You just can't do it because he's not, and he's not going to be. Unless he has some spectacular means and measures. Regarding Sauce Gardner is funny, and please, I am not trying to compare myself to anybody at that level. I'm a clown. I realize it. But the way he described his strained calf was me back in June describing my strained calf. And it does suck. There's a reason why I drove immediately from Greenwood Christian High School right to Mike Landis's house and put on a boot. I mean, immediately. I knew it. Because it feels like somebody grabbed some wires on the top, somebody grabbed some wires on the bottom, because you're backpedaling, right? I'm backpedaling too. Boom, going to pull it, done. But again, I'm not holding my breath. All right, they promise you more. They went out and got more. And we've been all about Chris Ballard, and rightly so, over the past 8+ years. But there are dudes out there getting paid. It's time to start playing. And especially with that old mantra of it all starts up front, because the play up front has been complete bullcrap. And everybody in the world, every old school coach tells me that's where it all starts. And if you watch this team play, especially through this funk that they're in right now, that's absolutely where it starts. And head coach, I mean, I know that you want to go ahead and outfox everybody, outwit everybody, but maybe just try coaching up the team that you have with the ability that you have right now. You don't have Daniel Jones of September. You have Joe Flacco that we saw here. That's who you have. I don't know. I don't know if I want to say that about Daniel Jones. Maybe a little bit more mobility than Joe Flacco, but you know what? I mean, it's pretty damn close. I'll give him credit. The dude can't move. The dude can't move, and his coach coaches him up like he's Michael Vick. Let's go, because now's the time. Now's the time. Quick break. We shall return. Hoosiers, Buckeyes, Saturday. I've got passes for you. Pre-game party, the best around. BullseyeEventGroup.com. I think I'm going to be a part of that too. I think I'm going to do a little JMV takeover with skids out there, have a little bit of fun before that. I cannot wait. I better not cuss. I don't give two blanks about what Ohio State thinks about this game, and their fans don't really care, and it doesn't really matter. This is the biggest game in the history of IU football, and I am here for it. Here for it. You know what? I will say this too. I think everybody should come together in terms of all these grandfathered college football programs that live in the world of butthurt. Everybody should jump on the IU football bandwagon. They are the infiltrators. They're the party crashers. Now, we all should be happy about that, no matter what the hell you root for, especially if you're not a grandfathered-in football program. Pacers later on tonight. We got to bail a little bit early. I shall explain college basketball. We'll talk that up. Is it going to come down to the Heisman? With a couple of quarterbacks coming up on Saturday night. That coming up as well. 239-1070. Email address JMV at 1075thefan.com. The AAA Membership Lounge via YouTube Live. However, I'm reminded you that you got to become a AAA member today. I mean, now is the time. Snow's on the inbound. Somebody's got your back on the open road. AAA.com. Become a member today. Give that as a Christmas gift-giving idea. Easy. AAA.com. Stream the app, HD Radio. Don't go anywhere. Your calls and more of me and you coming up. 93.5, 107.5 The Fan.
with JMV.
You take drugs, Danny? Every day.
Good.
So what's the problem?
I don't know.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Left sideline into the end zone, and it is a catch for Alec Pierce. Touchdown! He covers 19 yards in the back left corner of the end zone for a score. Touchdown! I-N-D-Y for the Colts. They take the lead over the Texans 6-3.
Matt Taylor, voice of the Colts. Colts lose 8-4 on the road in Jacksonville. They haven't won there. The last time they won there, I think I was around 250 or something like that in weight. It's been a while, right? Well, actually, that was just a year and a half ago. But they haven't won since 2014, haven't won the division since 2014. So if you're really, truly wanting to change, I mean, all this bull crap we have to hear each and every week about how we're going to go in and watch film and get motivated and stay focused, all that crap. You just go down there and beat a team that you haven't beaten in such a damn long time. And as I mentioned earlier, let's go ahead and start on both sides up front, offensive and defensive lines. Hey, I've got to own this. Michael says this may be the worst, or maybe worse than bad. The trade for Sauce could end up being devastating. We will see. That is one of the major reasons why you have got to yank this thing out of flush down the toilet mode right now and do something with it. Because that is going to be the sentiment and probably reality on the other side. And as I mentioned with the head coach, for goodness sake, can you do an offense where it looks like you understand the dynamic of your quarterback? That's not Daniel Jones of September. And the offensive line can understand that too, because they've stunk. And we want to individualize all this, and everybody else wants to make it a team game when there's success. But team-wise, this guy's out there limping around on a broken stick, and it's not like he's lighting it up, but it's also not like he's not running from his life on one leg because these guys can't protect anything. It's coming at you. It's going to come at you. The word is out. And like me, when you guys know that I have bullseye passes, like I hear from my mom's going, hey, I think I'm going to call and see if I can go too. Do I need a scissor lift for that? Seriously, though. I think this is the easiest part of it, too. And I know what you're going to say, well, they didn't play a tough schedule early on. What I'm saying is, even in the moment, you're talking about games like in Pittsburgh, and they stink. But you turned the ball over 6 times, it was still one score. I mean, you tried to give up Atlanta and Berlin. Kansas City, 11 points up in the 4th. And the coach also helped out in that cause. And then yesterday at home against a Houston team, you're right there. I mean, can you get a stop? Can you stop anybody on third down? I mean, hell, guys got after the quarterback that I've never heard of yesterday. But I tell you who I have heard of, guys that didn't get after the quarterback. And this whole thing's upside down. And I don't care what anybody says, that I have to have this battle each and every week. It's not a battle. It's a fun-loving argument about how things aren't must-win. Yes, they are. Cam Bynum told us as much 2 weeks ago. We don't look at it as one game or the other being a must-win. It's every week. But also, under certain circumstances, some weeks are much more valuable. This week coming up, because you blew yesterday, this week coming up is as valuable as any. But if you're asking me, where do I start the whole blame game thing here, it's easy for me. It's up front, both sides, and the head coach. I'm not going to blame a quarterback that's limping around out there. mean, you know what he's got. I mean, listen, if he's not capable, put Riley Leonard in, which I don't think anybody wants to see. But he's out there. I mean, protect him as he is right now, not as he was in September. Hopefully that makes sense to you. Stuff drives me nuts. A game like Sunday is when we're going to find out. This is often said, and sometimes I think it is just uttered because it's a time waster. It's like an argument starter, a debate starter. But this is 100% reality Sunday. We're going to find out what these dudes are made of on Sunday. We're going to find out. I'm not necessarily talking about the quarterback, but we're going to find out what they're made of. Everything, you get those 8 wins, the first 7 wins, shall we say. Man, when you were in cruise control, it was easy. Everything was going right. You're throwing back a couple of steaks, some heavy protein after the game, doing a little party, having a little fun. Now it's business time. Now we're going to see how you work through the chaos of how you've created 8-4. And teams breathing down your neck and everybody's saying, oh, here we go again. That's just the Colts that we know. You can't be the Colts that we know. We're going to find out Sunday. 239-1070 is that number. Let's get to Mike in Brooklyn for his analysis to start this show. Hello, Mike.
Hey, JMV, what's up? Yeah, just the usual for me. I got to stop being more practical like you, but, it's really, to me, it's just the whole compilation of the same thing. It's really, what I think with my heart and with my head are two different things. It's not going to happen because, Steichen, it's the same thing. Steichen is, he's only interested in coaching the offense. He doesn't have the big picture in mind. All he has to do is look across the other sideline to D'Amico Ryans, who came in. That guy is a head coach. He knows how to win games. Steichen just wants to, give you the lip service of, everything's good. We're just going to clean up a few things. It starts with me. And he's going to do the same thing, which he did yesterday right from the start of the game. If you want to do something different, how about, maybe just start out with just deferring on the kickoff. Maybe we could at least, make a little bit of an effort. How about, taking the 3 points, at home in a game that points are going to be valuable. And then even if you're going to go for it, you geniuses come up with a play where you're going to put Tyler Warren in motion and he's got to get a snap when, that's not overthinking yourself. I mean, you got to be cute. You can't just say to these guys, let's just run Jonathan Taylor. And if we can't get a yard, Don't
coaches say when you go to the trickery like that, that's when teams know that they got you. Yeah. Because you got to go to this and that's Shane does that. And I know people are going to say, "Well, you love it when it works," but it's massive. It's massively embarrassing when it doesn't because it makes you look like you have to do this crap to stay competitive.
Yeah, it's an extension of Frank Reich. He used to do the same thing, and that's where he is, and that's what this is. This Shane Steichen to me is just an extension of Frank Reich. You're going to have the same thing over and over again. He's not a head coach. He's just a guy who wants to call the offense. Him and Jim Bob probably worked all week on that Tyler Warren play. They said, "Oh man, we can just Steichen say, yeah, I love it. I can't wait to put this in the perfect time." Instead of being a head coach saying, "Yeah, you know what? That's a nice play, Jim Bob, but let's keep it simple. This is a big game. I'm not going to roll the dice on some stupid trick play when I got a big divisional must-win game at home. I'm down by 3. Let me how about just taking the 3 points? And then when Cam Bynum, if it plays out the same way, he picks it off. Now you can go up and you can take the lead. No situational football. And all those players on that team that have been there for the duration, all those veteran guys, they don't know how to win. They've been in a mediocrity culture since they've been in the league. They don't know how to win big games. It's not in their DNA. It's not in Steichen's DNA, It's not in any of their DNA to go out there.
Do you
and
remember?
say,
hey, Mike,
win.
do you remember the early part of the season we were talking about this team always keeping themselves in third and short? And that's completely disappeared. Here's what else has disappeared. This team never has the football, it seems. I mean when it's almost like you go to a festival of the 1980s, a music show, and like the Colts are the equivalent of Men Without Hats. They come out there and play like one song and then leave. That's the Colts offense. I mean, it is out there for a second. And the Colts defense, and this is the combination we thought, or at least I did. I will say I did. I thought Sauce Gardner with that secondary would help them put pressure consistently on the quarterback. What are they, like 27th or 28th in third down defense right now? It is absolutely awful. And drives are sustained. And you have what we've witnessed so far, which is a team that has made a sharp decline in the last month.
And for all their genius offensive things, they're a horrendous third down offense as well. Not a good combination. Horrible offense.
I think they were 3 of 12 on third and fourth down yesterday, were they not? So.
And that's been consistent through the whole year. Even when they were doing well, they were bad on third downs. So
But we were looking at because they were always in short yardage. I mean, they always kept things. They did a lot of damage on first down. Therefore, second down was a lot easier. Hey, Mike, I appreciate it as always, my friend. Check in later on this week.
Okay, brother. Thank you.
Mike in Brooklyn. 239-1070 is the number if you want to jump on board. IU fans, you can as well. I don't know why the entire world's not rooting for IU coming up on Saturday. The Infiltrators. Crashing the party. Shouldn't be there. Why are they there? A strength of schedule, not good enough. Ohio State, why are we even playing the game? All that crap. I can't wait. That is going to be a great environment. You just got to hope that IU can bring a little bit of something. Now, granted, I want everybody to stay healthy. Of course, we do live around here, so what we ultimately know is nobody will stay healthy. Something will happen, right? Kind of in that stage now. More of that coming up. Pacers coming up later on tonight as well. Colts Roundtable, 5:30 tonight for that. Your calls. Stephen Holder in the 5 o'clock hour. Sauce Gardner is week to week with a strained calf. And the ramifications of that if he does not return. That's and you and I next.
Brain on drugs. Any questions?
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Daniel Jones.
Wide open.
Throws.
Wide open.
Goal line. Touchdown for the Colts. Tyler Warren. Touchdown. INDY. And it's a gain of 12 for the touchdown to Warren. And the Colts are an extra point away from tying the game. It's 13-12.
Matt Taylor, Rick Venturi, Colts Radio Network. For future reference, that's how you use your tight end right there. You know, the whole direct snap and all the trickery. And, hey, that's great when things are running smooth, but obviously things are haywire. It's chaotic right now. Stop jacking around. Stop jacking around, head coach. Now, you don't always have to outthink the room. It's great when you do. But you don't always have to outthink the room. Here's the other thing, too. Like I mentioned at the start of the season, you know, everything was easy and smooth, and there was a rhythm going on. And we saw that. And the results bared that particular fact out. But make no mistake, here's where the test comes. To see how these dudes respond with the pressure when things aren't going well. Because it's not always going to go well. It's not right now. You got free agency money. You got high-level draft selections up front and the back end. Whether you're talking about Latu or Pay or Ward, or if you're talking about the offensive line, I'm going to lump everybody together. I know it's not everybody. Everybody wants to point to the right side, and that's okay. But how about everybody? Because it's not like Bernard Ryman is playing great either. So I'm just going to lump everybody together. This is all on you guys. It's really easy to have those types of positive results when you're in rhythm and flow. It's much more difficult to pull yourself out of the funk that you're in right now. But really, that's why ultimately you're paid at the level, is because that trust is there in either situation. And frankly, they have not shown that since Pittsburgh. And not shown that at all. To me, it's incredibly disappointing. And that was a very winnable game yesterday under very winnable circumstances. Kansas City, obviously, through three quarters. And even Pittsburgh. I go back to the Pittsburgh game where you turn it over 6 times. It's a one-score game. You had no business being anywhere near that game. But, frankly, Pittsburgh stinks. And the only reason Pittsburgh got you was a strip sack from T.J. Watt. And 2 guys on the edge getting after the quarterback. Start treating your quarterback as your quarterback is now, not as he was in September 2. We'll see what these guys are made of coming up on Sunday. There's no doubt about that. JMV, what are the chances Mike Landis still has a pair of Adidas top 10s you could slide into? Well, Steve, I will say this. If he doesn't, he's probably complaining about the fact he doesn't have it right now. My man in retirement, he's fun as hell, but he is the master complainer. He's a walking complaint. But we got to love it. Yeah, Sunday must win, absolutely. JMV, so have we seen the last of Richardson? Probably. JMV, 8-4 team is a very real chance of being 8-9. Well, if you do something about that, not so much. But yeah, you're walking into it right now, to say the least, David. When Schuler Spreadability, you'll find that your favorite Meijer location. Gordon's Food Service, Neiman's Harvest Market, Spreadability, original sharp cheddar bacon and cheddar and jalapeno pepper. You love it. Elite level snacking with Win Schuler's. All right, a lot more to come, including Stephen Holder coming up after 5. Your calls stay right there at 239-1070. I'm coming at you next. about what you can control or what you, let me rephrase that. What you should be able to control. Was it a level of jackassery? Yes, it was. Did it cost them? Absolutely. Is that in the rear view right now? Yes. Is there anything you can do about it? Will the NFL do anything to these guys? Probably not. I don't know what they do. I don't know if they'll do anything. Frankly, I don't care. But what matters to me is what this team can do in Jacksonville now coming up this Sunday. Not so much about the officiating. I would love to. Like if this were the NBA, I'd probably spend 3 hours on it. Because I love making fun of those guys. The best in the world. I mean, hell, these guys yesterday, they weren't the best in Central Indiana. Missed a lot of things. Yeah, I know. The technology, the reviewing, I mean, we say we don't want it for everything, and then we do want it for everything. And the whole PI thing, and they're always going to be able, I think it was his name Clay Martin, the guy that was in the pool reporting afterwards, the lead official talked about, they're always going to be able to BS with wordplay around it. You use enough of the rule book to help it make sense. But really, you don't need the rule book. All you needed was the eyes to see it. So didn't bring that up. Let's face it. I don't know, even as ridiculous as it is as having a place kicker in this era that misses an extra point, but 3 extra points this season, what? Even as ridiculous as that sounds, I don't know if there's a different, or maybe I should put it this way, a better solution out there. I think you just end up kicking the can down the road. There's probably a reason why these guys aren't working right now. It's because they stink. Or let's just say they stink worse than the guys that are employed. So, yeah, that'd be great. Bring them in, try them out. Hell, I don't know what the criteria for trying out might be. But I don't know if you're going to find any solution to that right now. Like, I'm concentrating on what you can find. Like Badgley, your solution is, hey, hit an extra point. Don't jack up your team. There are still things this team can do and do better, including its head coach, as we outlined in hour number 1. I got a lot of your stuff to read right here, too. You guys want to go to Bullseye like crazy. It is going to be fun. Do you guys want to go because of the fun and the pregame party before that game, or because you want to see what it is that I do? I think it's because you want to see what it is that I do. Thank you. Because it will be fun. JMV, everyone wants to try to be Captain Hindsight with the Sauce trade and now the injury, but those same people were criticizing this organization for not taking chances in free agency and trades. The fact is, we were living the nightmare that is losing games in the trenches instead of winning them with the so-called depth we've heard about for years. That's Jordan and Carmel. Hey, I will own it. I was all for the Sauce thing, and I would still do it. Because I don't want to hear about winning next year and the year after that. I don't want to, like what I go through with the Pacers right now, it's bad enough. What I went through prior to the last 2 years with the Pacers, it was bad enough. I want to live in the moment. So, you know what happens with Sauce? He crapped out. That's what happened. I mean, you wanted... all right, in terms of sauce, James, are you a sauce connoisseur here? I'm not talking about the alcohol sauce. I'm going like sauce. So you're paid for the is it called RAO? R-A-O? RAO? You pay for the RAO and you got Prego. I can't help it. And I probably pronounced that wrong. Notice I know how to pronounce Prego or Ragu. But that's what you have. And not even so much as the player, but you just completely crap out with the injury. If he is unable to help, it will go down in history as an awful deal, but I will also go down in history as proclaiming that I was on board with it. And I'm sure that Chris Ballard will invite me to next Thanksgiving dinner because of it.
Apparently, it's pronounced Rayos.
Rayos?
According to this.
That's not how it's pronounced where I'm from. JMV Mooney does not look like he belongs on the field right now. Mooney, Charvarius Ward looks for his position and his level of play incredibly slow. He's a little bit in slow-mo. Kyle Anderson reference right there. He looks like Kyle Anderson trying to keep up with the Pacers last year. JMV, concerning the comment from Cam Bynum, if the Colts understand that each game is a must-win, they certainly don't seem like they play like it. Well, that is an issue right now. That is getting beat. And they're getting beat in the fourth quarter in Kansas City, for a lot of that game defensively by Houston, and with basically two dudes in Pittsburgh, and almost with a similar situation in Berlin against Atlanta. They are bum rushing the set on Daniel Jones, and especially now because his health, his stick has been compromised. And then Shane Steichen, the head coach, utilizes him like he's the Daniel Jones we saw in September. That's not helping anybody. And the offensive line doesn't protect. They've stunk. They have. They've stunk. The defensive line has stunk. I'll give Grover Stewart some credit. Made a play yesterday. But Latu, Kwity Paye, they had two guys get sacks yesterday. You had to look up on the roster. How the hell's that happen? Where's your dudes? Where's the best player in the draft 2 years ago, defensively speaking? In the witness protection program, you cannot be. This is serious. This is not messing around and, hey, maybe we're there at the end of the season. You put yourself in an incredible position, and then you took some bumps and bruises. It's now time to pick your ass up and play and do something you haven't done since 2014. Win in Jacksonville and win a division. I still believe these guys can do it. But the consistency really in so many different areas it's completely fallen off. They look like, in terms of rhythm, they've gone from new addition to me. Keith Sweat to me. I don't know how this has happened, but. All right, 239-1070. Calls is Westwood joining us bottom of the hour or two, and then Holder coming up in the 5 o'clock hour. Danny Cannell tomorrow. He'll talk IU and Ohio State. The Infiltrators. I love the Infiltrators of IU. I love that. Now, you can be whatever you want to be. And by the way, too, I don't want to mention anything about Lane Kiffin because we should not give one big fat crap. Here's what you should care about is not having to deal with that because the AD locked up the guy in Bloomington. And remember, everybody complained about that? Oh, I can't believe they did that. And, now you're going to be Ole Miss. Hey, great. And I know you're dealing with a snake and Lane Kiffin. What do you expect? I love watching the SEC mess around with one another. Just keep screwing one another. That's not going to work in LSU either, will it? When you think about it, it worked for Saban there, it worked for Orgeron there, and it worked for Les Miles there. Two of the three, you go, what? It can work for you even if you're not of greatness. But it can also go haywire if you're not it. There have been some stops along this Lane Kiffin tour where he's not been it. I hope it's this one, too. All right, 239-1070. Where am I going next? That is Cam. It's going to lead this show in the 4 o'clock hour. Yeah, that's where we are, after 4. Hello, Cam. How are you?
Hey, what's up, John? Usually I get on here and talk a little Pacers with you, but I wanted to bring up that Colts game again yesterday. And I think this is a guy kind of said the same thing earlier talking to Jake, so I apologize if anybody heard that.
Okay.
But I know you mentioned the refs for a little bit, and I'm not one of those guys either that ever – I mean, I've watched too many sports just like you have, like, you know, the best in the world. But when there's certain things that are actually out of the Colts' control, like the clock running down and the missed PAT where the Colts have, you know, that's not on them. It's the referee's job. I don't understand. You watch football every Sunday, and they bring in Gene, the ultimate ref. They bring him in the booth, and he's disagreeing with these guys. And as a fan, all we can do is really watch, and we can either cheer or boo our teams, or we can get pissed off. And it made me so pissed off yesterday listening to them bring him in the booth. And I think he overturned or whatever he did. He disagreed with these guys on the field 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
And if this was a playoff game yesterday, John, and ultimately, like, we might look back at this game and say this is one of the reasons, you know, this could screw the Colts up in the playoffs if they make it. But if this was a playoff game yesterday, I think that those would be the leading topics, whether the Colts shot themselves in the foot or not, the missed PAT call maybe, or the clock running out, or maybe the pass interference call. I feel like those would be the leading talking points of the game yesterday.
Yeah, and what's funny, Cam, you see this, the delay of game is really, you have to go like 3 seconds when the clock runs out for these guys to make a move on that. The pass interference was just jacked up. And, I mean, you see that all the time, or at least I shouldn't say all the time, but you see it enough. Certainly some situations more magnified. I tend to think, if the Colts had played better, more consistently, I'm not suggesting they weren't deserving of the win or deserving of the right call being made, but I think, to me, there is more problem with the way this team is playing and looks right now than there would be with this officiating crew that was a clown show yesterday, if that makes sense. Because, unfortunately, you can't do anything about it. It's like the last 2-minute report in the NBA. All it's going to do is irritate you. I mean, these guys have to find a solution, and you have to find a solution by different means because circumstances have changed from 2 months ago until where you are right now. And you have to find it in a big-ass hurry. And that's why I tend not to too much put the onus of my effort today on, I guess, talking about the officiating yesterday. I'd love to normally, but we're talking about some dire circumstances for this team and stuff that they have to take care of moving forward as to, you know, talking about a bad PI or, you know, a missed extra point. I mean, you know, Badgley missed an extra point, for goodness sake. So it just kind of seems like that wasn't prioritized by me as much as the way this team is playing presently.
No, I definitely agree. I mean, the Colts, the last couple of weeks, they've just, I think in every aspect, they've looked slow. Whether it's, I mean, obviously they haven't been on the field much. Yeah. But I guess, if I can say one more thing real quick, when they started off this season, you know, they were at 7-1, 8-1. I thought to myself, maybe this is going to be the year where they don't put themselves in that position of when they play their last game or two of the year like they've done in the past where it's been must win to get in. And now that's totally been a 360 change. And if you watch the Colts the last couple of years, when they play those meaningful games at the end of the year that they have to win, they don't do it. So it is worrisome. I agree with you because if they lose another 1 or 2, you're sitting on those, I mean, I guess even more must-wins, and this team usually doesn't do well with must-wins.
Kim, I'm going to ask you this, and then I'm going to go ahead and put this to the rest of the crowd out there. I think that being where they were and then obviously playing their way out of it would be more disastrous in this fashion than it would be had they just sucked from the outset. Would you agree? That would make it worse had we not gone through 2 months of winning and feeling good. I think it kind of magnifies the bad if you go out like this. Would you agree?
Oh, 100%, because I also think about the games that they lost, the way that they played in those losses. I mean, you could have looked at this team at one point and said they could have maybe been 9-0, 10-0. So, yeah, I think if they do snowball effect down, I mean, it's going to – I don't know where you go from that. You don't have any picks for next year. It's going to be rough.
I thought you were going to do your David Coverdale right there. I don't know where I'm going, but I sure know where I've been. Well done, Tim.
Yeah, well, I know where we've been. Yeah.
Appreciate you, brother.
Thanks, John.
See you soon. 239-1070 is that number. Brian Kelly says, are Buckeye fans allowed? Absolutely. Really, what you're going to be doing, BK, is you're going to be admiring me doing what I do. And that's just because I don't know what I'm going to be doing, but I'm going to be doing what I do. JMV, doing what you do probably means you're going to be half in the – that may mean that. Evidently, according to Jeremiah Wheatley, Real, the sauce – is that what you said, James? Real? How'd you pronounce it again?
The site I looked up said it was pronounced Rayo, but I'm not sure how accurate that is.
I said Rao. So here is the question. I thought that was a tremendous line because the sauce in India has been compromised from what I pronounce as Rao to Prego. Is that still a quality line, even if I mispronounced the high-quality sauce? I'll put it to you guys. Still a quality line? Nothing wrong with Prego or Ragu or Kroger brand. But it's not Real? How the hell you get that out of Real? I believe that's a restaurant, too. Is that not a chain of Italian restaurants, Real? The sauce has been compromised here. It is week to week. Now, no IR. So we shall see. For Indy sauce. Quick break, we'll come back. Westwood, bottom of the hour. Holder, 5 o'clock hour. More passes for you. We've got 2 incredible road shows this week where you can join. And then, of course, that bullseye party coming up on Saturday before the Big Ten championship game and what should be a downtown dynamic that is going to be spectacular. That and more coming up. AAA Membership Lounge via YouTube Live. Hello to everybody. It's 93.5, 107.5 The Fan.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
All right, so Us Gardner is week to week. We'll get to that with Stephen Holder of ESPN, top of the hour. Danny Cannell tomorrow. Big Ten title game features Indiana and Ohio State. Pacers, Cavs coming up later on tonight. We get a bail at 5:30 because of that. That's because also of Colts Roundtable. Laid out for you later on this week, too, a couple of spectacular places and show significantly on the road. And I'll tell you where coming up on Thursday to start with our Larceny Bourbon Locks and Luna Azul Tequila Shots. But on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline, once again, the legendary sports handicapper Michael Westwood. We're talking about tonight's game, and it's the Giants and the Patriots. An astounding 12-0 with his information and is willing to release it. Absolutely free. Free recorded hotline for anybody who calls it now. 800-885-2525. Let's welcome back to the show Michael Westwood. Hello, Michael. How are you?
JMV, thank you for having me once again. And yes, I've got something tremendous going on tonight at Foxborough at Gillette Stadium. Guys, the Giants obviously are playing the Patriots. It is going to be a balmy 29 degrees, and thank God I'm not going to be there. I can promise you that.
Michael,
right, but I am in New York.
We need some spirits lifted around here with this, okay? We're counting on you.
Right, I'm not even going to bring up the Colts. I'm not even going to bring up what happened because, listen, buy your New York Jets tickets. Obviously, you saw them beating the Falcons yesterday, so buy your New York Jet Bowl tickets. Yeah, right. So listen, I have a question to ask you because I know you're extremely knowledgeable about the NFL. What is going on this year in the NFL? I mean, it seems to me that the teams that should be on top are not on top, and those teams are not covering either. There's 12 teams right now, correct me if I'm wrong, are under 500. What is going on?
It is the bizarro world, or at least I felt that way when the Colts were kind of riding the proverbial high horse, which has since not been the case in the past month, but it has seemed like it's been a bit of a bizarro world, especially, Michael, when you look at the playoff picture.
There's no doubt about it. You know what bothers me? The public's getting slammed right now. I know the bookmakers, the offshore accounts, the sports books are all making a ton of money. This is their biggest year ever. I mean, you look at a game like last night, Denver playing Washington. Every Tom, Dick, and Harry thought Denver was going to blow that team out, and obviously saw what happened. But let me tell you something. I've got a get-out game for all of your listeners tonight, and it's going out as my, you ready for this?
Yes.
My Northeast game of the year. I upgraded it. It was going to be my game of the month, but I've upgraded it to my Northeast game of the year. My record is absolutely astounding. And everybody who calls my free recorded hotline right now at 1-800-885-2525, that's 1-800-885-2525 is going to be connected to my free recorded hotline, and you're going to get the winner of tonight's New York Giants Patriot game. It's absolutely free, and it's on me on my free recorded hotline.
It is Michael Westwood right now, the legendary sports handicapper, 12-0 with his information, and he's going to unleash that to you, 800-885-2525. And you're digging this Monday Nighter. I can feel it. I can hear it in your voice.
Absolutely love the game. Dart's back, but then again, you're going against a team that, I mean, they're just a dominating team. The Pats are going to go the distance this year. I'm not sure if they're going to be in the Super Bowl, but the bottom line is, you know, what's been going on in the NFL, anything can happen this evening. We do a lot of research. We do a lot of studying, and usually we don't even play on Monday night. I was 9-2 this past weekend with the college and the NFL, but tonight is absolutely incredible, and I want everybody to play the game the way that I tell them to play the game. It's free. It's on my free recorded hotline. Again, JMV, all they have to do is dial 1-800-885-2525. Again, that's 1-800-885-2525. Get the information on tonight's game. Get the winner and give us a call back tomorrow, and maybe we could do some business.
Yeah, the Giants and Patriots. You can check that out with Michael Westwood. Again, 1-800-885-2525. Michael, every Monday afternoon with us right here on The Fan. Again, one more time that number for everybody, Michael, before you go.
Once again, it's 1-800-885-2525 on my free recorded hotline. The phones are ringing off the hook right now. JMV, thanks for having me once again.
You got it, Michael Westwood right there. 800-885-2525, and his phones were evidently ringing. I heard them in the background right there. Good for us. Rayo's is a famous Italian restaurant in New York City. Reservations almost impossible to get, famous for being frequented by Italian mobsters. I believe, Squid, while we're on the sauce, Rayo's was in the film Wolf of Wall Street. Didn't Jordan Belfort meet the big-time private eye, the investigator? What's his name that was in the Subway commercials inside that Rayo's location? Bo Dietl was his name. Wasn't Bo Dietl in, was it Arby's or Subway commercials? Bo Dietl. One of the two. I can't keep track of Arby's anymore because now they're the place for steak. I had no idea.
I believe it was Arby's.
Arby's? Is Arby's now the place for steak?
I didn't even
Do you
realize
see they got little
steak
pieces?
Oh, the steak bites.
Yeah.
I haven't tried them.
I'm going to say this. If anybody's out there right now and you have a restaurant, should you start calling your meats proteins?
That's a little bit of a vague wording that would kind of make me a little concerned.
Well, it means you're watching what you eat. Protein, right? I'm eating What's your protein? We're going to put protein on. Some do already. What protein do you like? Salmon. What protein would you like? Steak.
I guess that's fair.
Chicken. Protein.
Maybe it's just because it's a drive-through restaurant. If they stop referring to it as meat and start referring to it as protein, I'm going to start thinking, well, what exactly is the protein? Like,
so
what's
you're
in
thinking there? If they're rolling up off of 67 to the Arby's in Mooresville, that they're not going to ask for protein. They're going to ask for
I wouldn't,
cube steak.
I wouldn't imagine they refer to it as protein.
So well done. Hey, by the way, congratulations to all of our high school football state champions. A job well done, and really for the participation. And I love the way that everybody around here makes those 2 days downtown, whether it's Friday or Saturday, just legendary. And you make that a yearly event, which is cool as hell. I know everybody was excited about Cascade, and the sheeting action was big time. Obviously, New Pal, Brownsburg again. South Putt. I think Dwanger was in there. I know Ron Cowley. Woo! But one hell of a Friday and although, other than the Channel 13, and I don't watch it, and really I'm not going to make light of or debate about somebody's lighting of a tree that's not a tree, that's actually a monument downtown. But apparently Channel 13 jacked that up big time on Friday. I was not watching. Did they jack it up? Anybody know? Anybody watching the lighting of the monument? And evidently, poor Chuck. Chuck came out of retirement, and he's right there having to deal with that. That sucks. I'm assuming that is Channel 13 still going to be a part of 59 and CBS 4? Maybe that will allow them to get their act together. Or here's what you can do, Channel 13. Just let Lindsay do it all. Let Lindsay do everything, and then it won't be jacked up. Instead of getting everybody else involved, all the 12-year-old characters and those behind the scenes that are running the board from out of market, those employed by Tegna to screw stuff up. You join the 59 broadcast people, and maybe that'll help. Shout out to Chuck. I love Chuck, though. Chuck out of retirement to do that, and then they messed everything up. Come on. All right, 239-1070. I owe some calls to some folks right here. Let's go with Bill on line 2. Bill, welcome to the show. How are you?
JMV, how are you doing today?
Bill, I couldn't be any better.
Hey, man, Bo Dietl was in the movie Goodfellas. He was the undercover cop that confronted Henry Hill when they surrounded his house after the babysitter made the call.
Was. Oh, yeah. I'll blow your head off is what he said, right? That was a hell of a quote. So was he in anything else other than Goodfellas and The Wolf of Wall Street?
Probably had a couple other roles.
And then Arby's. How did you land that Arby's commercial? That's incredible.
Well, he was also a regular on the Don Imus show when Don Imus was still alive, and they did like a broadcast and everything together. So
hey, Billy, stand by for a second. James has some information for us. James?
He was also in The Irishman, so that's 3 Scorsese flicks that he was in.
I have not seen The Irishman yet.
It's okay.
I have seen Kill the Irishman, which is another film from the year. I forget what that is. Takes place in Cleveland. Kill the Irishman, I think is what it's called. Anyway, go ahead, Bill. We're off track.
And man, Cleveland is going to have tonight is going to be without about up to 6 players, and the Pacers have got at least 5 players that are not playing. T.J. McConnell, and what a relief it was to see him on the court.
Yeah,
I mean he changed the entire.
They're so much better when he is. You know, it's funny, and I have to hear this all the time, and I'm sure you probably hear this too. People say, "Hey, what do you think they can get out of T.J. McConnell?" I've got a couple of questions here. Why would you want to trade if you believe that you jump back on next season? This is a gap year. You jump back on. Why would you want to trade probably your greatest off-the-bench asset that works perfectly within your scheme of things, especially on the offensive end? Why would you want to do that? And then I would argue how many other teams out there, and I know they all try to play fast now with pace, but how many other teams would benefit from having McConnell come off the bench? He is perfect here. I've never understood why people always want to toy with trying to get rid of him. He is a perfect fit off the bench here, especially if you consider this season or describe it as a gap year. Perfect.
He is. Number one, they should not get rid of him, and number two, he elevates other players to the extent where now that Obi Toppin's out until the All-Star break, it looked like Walker and T.J. McConnell were a nice complementary fit to each other and everything, and that experience in playing with each other on the court is going to pay off. So I'm not writing off the Pacers at all. I think the Pacers are gonna if they're 500 at the All-Star break, I'll be doing cartwheels down Washington Street. But I think they're going to get this right, and I think they're going to get in the playoffs, and I think they're going to make a run, and they're going to do what we do here in Indiana, and that's root for the Pacers in the postseason in May.
And Billy, I'm going to see you. Tiebreakers on Friday, Mass Ave. Are you ready? Tiebreakers, Bud Light Blue Friday.
I'm ready for Mass Ave, that's for sure.
I got to have everybody.
Thursday?
I'm trying to get Matt Surface from the former Hoosier to join me at Tiebreakers coming up on Friday. Thursday, we're in Bartholomew County. I'm in Columbus on Thursday at the Garage. Can you believe that? Columbus on Thursday.
Well, that's not that bad a drive down 65, so...
Oh, it's going to be great for me. It's easy. I just go down 31, and I'll stop at the outlet mall and get some Nautica clothes.
You'd be styling, man.
Get some cheap-ass cologne, and then I'll head to the remote. It'd be great. Can't wait.
And I got to say one thing about the IU Ohio State game. And this is for the national championship. This is not only for the Big Ten championship. Make no mistake. It is just an example of what being able to transition into the times and everything. When you got the NIL money, transfer portal, you got this, you got that, and all of a sudden, you're the second-ranked team in the country. And I think the IU is gonna show out. I think they're gonna. It's gonna come down to time of possession. I'm gonna go ahead because I'm a homer, and I'm gonna go with IU, and I think they're gonna win by 3 points.
Billy, I will see you definitely on Friday, right? Tiebreakers. I have not been there. It's new, evidently, on Mass Ave. Billy, thank you for the call. Bud Light Blue Friday is on Friday. Larceny Bourbon Locks, Luna Azul Tequila Shots. My first radio job was in Scipio, Indiana at Win 106 WINN Mount Vernon, Seymour, Columbus. Scipio is like right in the middle of that trio of small towns. So Win 106 now is the River 106.1, and that is if you're on 31 going into Columbus. That station's sitting right there, oddly enough, on the river. Actually, it is, I think the River, 106.1 The River, is a tremendous local music radio station. I don't know who programs it. I don't know anybody there, but I think it sounds awesome. I love it. They have a dude that's a national show, M.G. Kelly and the Hit List, every Sunday night, and for some reason I end up listening to it. I think it is fantastically done. Now, that's national, but they do have local voices, and that's what I have that deeply rooted admiration for. Shout out to our friends at the River 106.1. I've got a cocktail sample for you guys if you want to show up there. The Garage on Thursday. Me, Brent Halverson, Larceny Bourbon Locks, Luna Azul Tequila Shots. We've got Stephen Holder, top of the hour, the latest on Sauce Gardner. Am I taking the officiating clown show too lightly here? Should I have put more emphasis on it? Your thoughts on that coming up on the other side. Colts 8-4 on the road in Jacksonville. Have not won there since 2014. It's got to change on Sunday. That and more on the Pacers later on tonight, too. It's 93.5, 107.5 The Fan.
You're not going to fall for the banana in the tailpipe?
It should be more natural, brother. It should flow out like this. Look, man, I ain't falling for no banana in my tailpipe.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Crank this up. The kicker missed again. The officials missed a lot. And the Colts missed a major opportunity that they should have won at home yesterday. And they are placing themselves into a major hosing area, meaning hosing themselves. 2016 is the final. C.J. Stroud, upon his return, 22 of 35, 276. Cam Bynum picked him off on that incredibly errant throw. Daniel Jones, 14 of 27. Just a smidge over 200 yards with 2 TDs. And he looked like a dude that's playing with a snap stick of some sort. His fibula compromised. And utilize him as such. And I'm talking to the head coach and the offensive line. Can you protect his ass a little bit? You guys mind? He's out there. He looks at times like he's on one leg. This is not the guy that played in September. So protect him in the fashion in which you did. Or I should. Not the way that you used to. I mentioned Charvarius Ward, who was not good. His quote today when asked, and this is courtesy of James Boyd, Hooper, with me, ask what he needs to improve. Quote, just got to get my mind right and my heart right. As long as my mind is cloudy, I don't really play good all the time. So I'm just trying to focus in, lock in, and get focused. And I think I'll start playing better. Hey, chop, chop. Now's the time. Let's get focused in. Let's get the mind right. Let's part those clouds, because what we witnessed yesterday, and I like Charvarius Ward a great deal, you know that, but that ain't it. That ain't it. Win Schuler's is elite level snackability with the spreadability of Win Schuler's original sharp cheddar bacon and cheddar. And the fan favorite, jalapeno pepper. Neiman's Harvest Market, Carmel. Gordon's Food Service. And across this incredible state of Indiana, where evidently to the north it's snowing right now. I can't see because we're in a box, but here in a couple of weeks we're going to have a window.
An actual window.
We're going to get out of this place. See ya. Wouldn't want to be ya. And we're going to have a window, and I don't know what's going on. The spreadability of Win Schuler's. Meyer location, state of Indiana. Stephen Holder, Sauce Gardner, other side. Should we put more focus on the crap water officiating yesterday? At a place where this team hasn't won, different players, same circumstances over the years since 2014. Jacksonville. Stephen Holder joins us next.
The band back together.
Forget it. No way. We're on a mission from God.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
All right, Colts Roundtable, bottom of the hour. Danny Cannell tomorrow. IU, Ohio State Saturday. Bullseye passes. Somebody reminds me I'll give away another pair before we bail here, too. Windshield of spreadability, giving you the ultimate level of snacking and the spreadability tonight of all nights, too, with Monday Night Football. The Giants and the Patriots wrap things up. Well, hoop the Pacers, Cavaliers tonight from Gainbridge Fieldhouse. And a busy week for us. I still trying to figure out why, and we need to have me out somewhere like midday on Saturday. Like me, this would be a great cross-promotion. Me and Pat and Denny and Terry and Allison, like me and the Home and Garden Show out someplace midday, and then I'll go to Bullseye, and then obviously Big Ten title game. Are you Louisville hoop? Sauce Gardner's week-to-week status with his calf strain, that compromise. The compromised fibula of Daniel Jones, and a team that is making a slow slide right down the toilet bowl if we're not careful right now, in a place coming up on Sunday where they haven't won since 2014. All does not sound great. We'll discuss it with Stephen Holder of ESPN on ESPN.com. He's on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. Colts are 8-4, lose at home to Houston yesterday. I saw what you had written a little bit earlier today. Hey, I'm not trying to hit the panic button at all, or the red flag being waved, but now is the time to pull this thing out of a nosedive, because you positioned yourself so well, and you've basically given all that up right now. And you look around this team, Stephen, and not a lot of things on or off the field with health concerns are going right. And you've got to stop this coming up on Sunday in Jacksonville, a place you haven't won since 2014.
Well, you called it a nosedive, and to continue the metaphor, I would say, they were gliding along early in the season, and, a tricked out, I don't know, what is it, a 787, big jumbo jet, with all the bells and whistles. And I feel like right now they're on this 40-year-old 737 I rode on last week, which was absolute trash, without any TV, any entertainment system or anything. They're just trying to get there with one engine running, That's the difference. It is that dramatic. And I don't know, it's a stupid metaphor maybe, but I don't know that it is, though. I mean, that's how dramatic the difference is from where they were to where they are now in the span of 1 month. The conversations we were having a month ago, think about them. The conversations were, are they going to be the number one seed? The conversations were, is this the best Colts offense ever? And think about what we're having to talk about now, which is, are they going to make the postseason? Are they going to win another game? I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying.
Is Daniel Jones the future?
Yes.
Are they screwed for the future because of Sauce Gardner?
Sure.
Yes.
Sure. So, look, I mean, we certainly are, the blood is in the water if you want to make, arguments that this is a disaster. You can make lots of those arguments right now. They have to turn the tide, and that's really what this boils down to, right? If they go on a win streak here, we're having totally different conversations. But those things that are compromising them are real, and I'm not blaming anybody, but they are real, right? DeForest Buckner is not walking through that door on Sunday. Okay, Sauce Gardner is not walking through that door on Sunday. Daniel Jones at 100% is not walking through that door on Sunday. They're going to have to make do. And it's going to be hard. I'm just telling you now. So buckle up. That's all I can tell you.
I would suggest this. They should be more capable to make do, which at times this team in certain circumstances reminds me of front runners, because you were kind of describing where you thought they were right now. I described it earlier as like going in terms of rhythm. They were in rhythm like New Edition, and now they're in rhythm like me. which is incredibly problematic, especially on the offensive side. And I cite so many of their issues, or the root of their issues, on both sides up front of the line. Both offensive line and defensive line, and I know you mentioned DeForest Buckner being out, but I'm sorry, there's enough in so many number ones and high-dollar guys where I would expect more, and I think that's where the root of the issues really with this team and this spiral we have seen recently start.
Well, I think you can look at the Houston Texans and take or find an example there. Their offense has not really moved the needle much at all this season. I mean, they scored 20 points yesterday, right? I mean, I don't think anybody anywhere is looking at that offense and saying, "Whoa, I'm scared of those guys." What they've done is they have won with defense, and it just goes to show you. I mean, there are different ways to get it done. There's no question about that. Do the Colts have the personnel that the Texans have? No, they do not. But you are not wrong. They do have a lot of money invested in that defense, and it's not all going to DeForest Buckner. That defensive line is one of the 3 or 4 most highly paid defensive lines in the NFL. And so that suggests more production. They're not getting that production. And they have at times gotten it. I think the problem is that it has been hit and it's been missed. And that's just made a bad situation tougher, to be completely honest. So I don't have the answers, but I think, they've invested so much resources there that, yes, you are right to expect those guys to come through. Kwity Paye, Laiatu Latu, right? I mean, these guys got to come through. They just do.
I haven't made a lot about the officiating yesterday, which was crap water, to say the least. Should I have made more about that today?
Okay, so, I am not a big fan of, doing somersaults, trying to, make that the first order of business after a loss. But yeah, I'm with you. Awful, no question about it. But I also think that we've probably gone a little too far. Not you, but some fans. Right. So here's what I'm talking about. Right. So, like the extra point, for example, there's this sentiment out there like, well, they botched it, and I think I know why, because I ended up hearing what was said on the broadcast later on, and I'm in the press box like you, right? So we're not listening to the broadcast. When I heard it later, I understand why there was this uproar, because it was described as this foregone conclusion that it was a missed extra point. I disagree with that. I don't know that we can say it was some kind of foregone conclusion. I would say we don't know. That's what I'd say. I think the angle that people were looking at was not dead on, and you can't really tell from that angle. So that's one example. The pass interference, garbage call, no question about it. But I would also argue the Colts have gotten their share too. It evens out, man, over the course of a season. The officials are not out to get your team, okay? That is absolute BS. Fans talk about it in such a way. It's just not true, right? I can say on the one hand they got screwed. Yes, I can say that, but I can also say over the course of 17 games, everybody's going to get their share, and theirs came at a bad time in a bad situation. That's all I can tell you, man. They missed the call. Human error. It is what it is. What I'd say is they had numerous opportunities to win that game. You can't go 3 for 10 on third down, for example, and then make it about the officials. You were 3 of 10 on third down, okay? Josh Downs, 2 drops, right? You can't find a way to get your number one weapon going. Jonathan Taylor. I can make a list of 10 damn things that they ain't doing. So we can talk about 2 or 3 calls, and it hurts. I get it, but they're not a great team right now, man. That's the bottom line. And I understand there are mitigating circumstances, but that remains true.
Why does Shane Steichen continue to utilize Daniel Jones as if he's the healthy Daniel Jones we saw in September?
Because he doesn't have a choice. This is the problem that he's facing. And when I say he doesn't have a choice, what I mean is the playbook, a lot of what's in the playbook is built upon the quarterback having to move, right? And so if you remove all of that, you don't have a whole lot to work with. So I think he's trying to find this line. I asked him about this earlier, Shane, and he's trying to avoid acknowledging that it's a problem, and I understand that. I get why he's doing that. But it is a problem, and I think he's trying to walk this line of trying to call a normal game but also protecting his quarterback, and that is like an impossible thing to do. It's really hard. So I do sympathize with him and with Daniel Jones because it's an impossible situation. But I think I can look at how Daniel played yesterday, and I can say under the circumstances, that was a great performance in context, right?
Yeah.
Meaning a guy with, for all we know, for what we understand, a fractured fibula, and playing against the number one defense in the NFL, right? I mean, like, what were your expectations? They couldn't have been more than that. However, we also can admit that he is compromised. It's true. But look, this is what they got. Riley Leonard is not going to play, period, full stop. That is not going to happen. I'm telling you now, 1,000%, unless this injury became much worse. That is not even a topic of discussion. I would also tell you that Anthony Richardson is not close. There has not been a discussion about getting him back in practice just yet. A very delicate injury, a broken face. That's what he had. So this is what they got, and they're got to roll with Daniel Jones.
That's interesting. Everybody used to tell me I had a broken face too.
Were they wrong?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I still had to go out and do stuff with it. But no, it's Stephen Holder of ESPN and ESPN.com. He's on the Eddie Moore Automotive Group hotline. So I saw what Charvarius Ward said about, the clouds have to clear and he's got to be focused and locked in. Is he talking about still being cloudy from the Ogletree hit that sent him on the IR, or is he just cloudy in general? Because the one thing he looks like in this cloud cover is incredibly slow compared to what we're used to.
Yeah, I don't think it's about the concussion. I think he's just got a lot going on, and I think he is getting at him being unfocused yesterday. Now, some of that I might say was due to his role changing right then and there on the first series of the game. They have been in this situation where they're going, I believe it's Sauce Gardner on the right side of the defense and Charvarius on the left side, and they can just sort of be static and keep those guys there and not have to worry about, hey, who's got the number one receiver and chasing him all over the field, which is exhausting, right? Well, they immediately, as Sauce Gardner went down, had to flip the switch and say, all right, now, Ward, you've got Nico Collins, and he's yours all day. Well, he was putting them through the ringer, chasing that guy all over the field. I mean, it's a tough assignment, no question about it, right? And I just think it took a toll, and maybe he lost focus in the course of that. I mean, I'm paraphrasing, or I guess I'm extrapolating, I should say, based on what Ward was saying, but that's kind of how I interpret it. So he's got to pull it together. And he did say, he said, I didn't play well enough. Now, I think he's a good player. I think he can be what they expect him to be, but this has also not been the year that he drew it up to be, that concussion, for example, and then he's been banged up at other moments as well. I just think it's been a lot. It's been a tough year overall for him, and I just don't know that he's dealt with it as best as he hoped.
All right, Sauce Gardner. Stephen Holder, by the way, is on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. Sauce Gardner described as week to week. Now, listen, we've both been down this path with the Colts before and week to week stuff, so I'm not holding my breath on any of it. Are you? Will you hold your breath?
No, not hold my breath. I will say I'm not ruling it out. Here's why. So I don't know that this is exactly true, but this is a similar situation to what we saw with Kenny Moore earlier this season, where we thought he had the Achilles tear. He did not. It turns out I think that was more of a calf/Achilles strain. This one, they're saying it's much more the calf and not the Achilles. But my point is, it's in that region, so you've got to be careful. And if I'm not mistaken, Kenny Moore missed 3 weeks. So I don't know if that's sort of a guiding light to use in this situation, maybe, at least as some point of reference. So we'll see. I mean, Steichen was adamant that he will be back before the end of the season. Of course, that is a projection, right? So ultimately, no one can hold him to that because there's no way to absolutely positively know that right now.
Was there a reason to be critical of Shane Steichen and his coaching?
Well, I think it's fair to ask questions. That's fine. I got to see how this ends.
Well, and I'll say it because I have been. And
no, that's fine. I don't think you're like out of line. I mean, ultimately, even though, look, we've outlined all the things that are not within their control. Those things are there. But I mean, ultimately, he had a lot of answers early in the season offensively. He had a lot of answers. Their execution was better, all those things. And I just think it's very clear to see that they're not getting the same kind of performance and the same kind of outcomes right now. You have to start somewhere, and I think you go to the coach. He's at least a part of the question or the equation.
What do you think the biggest issue might be if he were putting together? Because I talked about obviously outfoxing, outsmarting yourself as we've seen, and it does work both ways. I mean, when you come up with a play and it's a surprise call, it's great. But the whole snap, the direct snap to Tyler Warren, like I'm thinking, there may be a time and place for that, but with the way this team is working right now, it didn't seem like it's it. And, again, it brings up questions as to, why you're constantly trying to outsmart yourself. It's almost like at times the bad outweighs the good, if you know what I mean.
So here's a theory that I have. I believe very strongly that it's very different when you are coaching with the upper hand versus when you are trying to respond to what's happening and it's slipping away. So let me explain what I mean by that. Early in the season, they were scoring just like gangbusters in the first quarter. Their opening drives were crushing it, right? Lately, they have had a lot of hiccups on those opening drives, and that is interesting because that is where Shane Steichen often is at his best. On those scripted early drives, he is very good at that. That is one of his strengths, and he was coming up with some haymakers that right out of the gate were really, throwing knockout punches. And that has been less true in recent games, whether it's because of penalties, drops, or just some sort of lack of execution. They've had a lot of miscues early in games. So he has found himself now either playing sort of nip and tuck or trailing and that kind of thing. And then it puts you as a play caller in a much different situation. Now the defense has a little upper hand on you. When the defense was on the defensive, I know that sounds stupid, but like when the defensive coordinators were on the defensive and trying to find answers to kind of stem the flow, then Shane Steichen was in a really strong position, and he could throw more things at you. But I just think right now that's not the case. The other thing is, frankly, they haven't executed as well. They just haven't. The penalties have been a problem, and stupid stuff a lot of times, right? It's like somebody's not on the line of scrimmage. It's false starts. It's drops. It's just they have not been crisp at all. And I think that also has to do with coaching too. You got to get the best out of your guys, and he's got to figure out a way to do that.
Are they going to be trying out place kickers? I always thought you get this late, unless somebody's injured, it's almost better off if you try to work with the dynamic you have compared to going out there and holding a tryout and hoping you're going to find something else, because clearly if you had something else, that option would already be there or that person would be on somebody else's team. But will they go through that process this week?
I think it's trending in that way, yes. And I'm waiting to see today's transactions. I haven't seen them just yet, but when they do come out, I'm interested to see if we find out there were some tryouts today. They have talked about it for sure. That I can tell you. And so I will just give you my personal opinion on it. I agree with you for the most part. I don't think you should be overly reactive, right? to poor performance. However, I think you got to have a baseline, and 3 missed extra points in a month and a half is too many for me. It's just too many. I think that is where I'd probably draw the line, because frankly, we can talk about, you know, the missed calls. We can talk about all that stuff. If he doesn't miss the extra point, it's a 3-point game and not a 4-point game at the end. I'm not saying they figure out a way to finish the drive, but you certainly have a different mindset and it feels more doable, right? You manage your timeouts differently. Everything's different, right? So I just think that's a big deal to me. That's just a really big deal. That has to be like a free throw, you know, at this level. It just does. And I get that it's longer than it used to be. I understand that. But with the way kickers are kicking in today's game, and with the rules, the way they've changed with the ball preparation and all that, we're seeing record field goal length, right? So a 33-yard field goal has to be damn near automatic.
Man, they need DeForest Buckner and his presence in a big hurry too. That also disappoints me. We hear, like, you have to look up dudes making plays along that defensive line on the roster, and the dudes that you know by heart really aren't doing much of anything. That's problematic.
Yeah, and I think on the other side, the opponent's defenses are now gaining an upper hand. So this compounds the problem. They're gaining an upper hand because they see that they're not reacting well to pressure. So, for example, and I'm not changing the subject. I'm just saying, like, this is the flip side of that, right? The opponent's defense yesterday, Daniel Jones, I think under pressure, he was 2 of 11. So damn near all of his incompletions came when there was pressure, because teams know he's hurt, so they're sending more pressure. The Texans blitzed more than they typically did on yesterday, and they know he can't get out of it. He left the pocket one time yesterday, okay? And he is absolutely compromised. So it's just that's the thing, or that's the difference, or the impact that pressure can have, and the Colts, meanwhile, are not applying that kind of pressure on the other side.
That is Stephen Holder of ESPN and ESPN.com, like you out there and most around here, searching for answers. And we'll find out, I'm sure, some things later on this week. And it's going to tell us, this week is going to tell us a lot about this group. That's what I said a little bit earlier. It really is.
100%.
So, yeah.
100%. I think we'll know where this is going based on what we see from them. I don't even mean just win or lose, but like, do they respond? You know, do we see a better effort overall? Do we see a team that looks competent, looks like it can win in January? I think we'll get some answers to those questions in this game.
Pleasure as always. Thanks for joining us, Stephen.
All right, you got it.
Stephen Holder, ESPN.com. I've got more bullseye passes coming your way tomorrow. We're going to have a lot of them tomorrow. Danny Cannell tomorrow as well. James, thank you. Stephen Holder, Michael Westwood, you guys were fantastic today. We'll do it again tomorrow at 3. 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. Colts Roundtable, and then the Pacers coming up on The Fan. Don't go anywhere.